What I'm about to say is very upsetting, but actually a very real possibility. Meghan does feel untouchable for many reasons about Harry being stripped of his royal title. I'm going to preface this that renouncing or losing the royal titles shouldn't be a big deal to either Harry or Meghan, because Harry has repeatedly said he hates being a royal. He dislikes the royal family, and he wants to be called just Harry. And Meghan went on a show with Gloria Steinem saying that people should be linked, not ranked. And let's face it, being part of the royal family is a caste system, which is it goes by ranks. Basically, you are. I guess that Meghan Markle was bitter when she said that comment, because she felt that she was in the lower ranks when it came to the Duchess of Cambridge. But still, why do I say that Meghan Markle feels untouchable? Okay, let's do something really quickly. If they ask, the only thing that the Queen would have her hat to hang on in removing or stripping Harry's titles, because again, these are not Meghan's titles, these are Harry's titles, is the fact that he has said he doesn't want to be a royal. That royal life is hard and he wants to live his life as a private citizen. He can't live his life as a private citizen while being a royal. Because let's face it, having a title, you do represent the monarchy, because his family is in the throne. So there are 25 dukedoms. There are other noble families in the United Kingdom, but and they're dukes, but they're not royal dukes because their families are not in the throne. So you can only be called a royal duke if his family was in the throne. In this case, for example, yeah, there are 25 dukes, which are powerful and wealthy. There's one that's even wealthier than the Queen. Is worth about 13.3 billion pounds. He donated 12.5 million pounds to the NHS during the COVID crisis. Very good looking boy, man. Anyways, I digress. So the point is that Harry can't just be a duke because his family is occupying the throne of England. So even if he says, I don't want you to call me HRH, I just want to be a normal duke, he can't, because his family is in the throne. This is just to clarify a couple of things about being royal, duke, and dukes, because there's quite a few. And any of those families may have a claim to the throne. Like if we were given a choice, probably that's the only way to elect the crown, is to do it among the noble families of England. That's a thought. Anyways, I go back to this. So for Harry, the only option in order for him to be a truly private individual would be to give up the titles, renounce the titles. Either they strip him of the titles or he renounces more gracefully. But again, people go, this is going to be hard for Harry. Why? This is a guy who has gone very publicly, repeatedly has said he just wants to be Harry. He doesn't want to be called a duke. He doesn't want it. And Meghan Markle has gone on and said, I want to be linked, not ranked, that people shouldn't be ranked. Again, for the bitter fact that she wasn't the highest ranking person within the royal family. Had she been the highest ranking member of the royal family, she wouldn't be talking that shit. That's number one. That's the only reason that I see Her Majesty the Queen removing the titles, because of what they've said, that they don't want to be part of the royal family. One would have thought that if that was the case, they should have given up the titles before they left for Los Angeles, but they didn't do it because of money. Money, I mean taxes. Taxes are a powerful force. They're the force of the universe, like the Star Wars. Because it's millions. It does affect profoundly decisions, because we're not talking, even us, who pay taxes and are not nearly anywhere in the millions, but we still, people still try to not pay so many taxes. So these people pay taxes in the millions, or, they get tax breaks in the millions. So what do I mean by Meghan feeling untouchable? Sarah, the Duchess of York, has committed many criminal acts. I mean, this is not my opinion. This is a fact. She was caught on camera trafficking influence. That is a criminal act, and she should have been in jail, and her business and her money should have been investigated, because when she got caught, that's when she got caught. But she had been doing it for God knows how long. And imagine getting £500,000 for an introduction to Prince Andrew. So can you imagine how many people she had introduced to Prince Andrew before? And yet she was broke. And there was a big scandal in the media, but nothing happened. And she's still the Duchess of York. She has registered a company called Duchess Inc., using title, and she has deals with 8 big stores for the Duchess of York collection, tea towels, everything. So you see, they can't say we're going to strip the titles because you guys are merging, because they already have a precedent. Prince Charles is doing it. He sold to Waitrose, I think it was. I mean, they have been merging for a long time. It's just that Meghan has been doing it more obviously, and they had done their work for the royal for charitable organizations. So it was, even though people knew that this was ongoing, they didn't do anything about it. But Prince Charles has been merging his stuff. Lately, he just launched a very expensive couture line of clothing. Again, and this money, don't forget, he makes money. He makes millions with the Duchy of Cornwall. So now if people want to use the reasons for stripping Harry of his titles, because he's merging, then he can just turn around and say, wait a minute, my father is doing it, the Duchess of York is doing it, and she has been caught earning, I'm sure she earned a few million before she got caught by the press. And the Duchess of York is guilty of doing that, and she still has the title. And on top of that, she's divorced. She's divorced from Prince Andrew. She's an ex-wife, and yet she's using the title to merge. So Harry can turn around and say, point fingers. You can't do that because isn't that. Okay, let's examine the other thing that people are saying, that Meghan is meddling in politics. Okay, fair enough. Yet, Prince Charles, all Harry has to do is turn around and point to his father. Prince Charles has been meddling in politics for way longer than that. He has letters that he was sending to member of parliament, the black letters. And again, I've done this in my other video. What did parliament do now that people are getting pissed off about royal meddling? People are more vocal now. That's the difference between back then and now. People are more vocal, and the internet exists. So everything gets posted on the internet, and even people like me and you, listen to all of this. So they are called out more often. So Prince Harry has to say, wait a minute, you're talking about me meddling in politics. My wife is American, and she has a right to vote. And as an American, she has a right to urge and tell people what to do. Yeah, that's not a problem. But she's done it very publicly as the Duchess of Sussex. That's a big no. Prince Charles can say, wait a minute, I did it discreetly with letters sent privately and directly to members of parliament. There is that difference. But he's still meddling in politics. What we're picking here is a point difference without distinction. That they both meddle. It's just that one is doing it very in your face, and the other one was discreet. Although Prince Charles did promise to stop once he became king. A leopard doesn't change its spots. That's pretty much it. Now, we have politics. We have renouncing the titles. Let me see. Okay. And moral ground that they strip the titles. Okay, let's examine that too. Prince Charles. Let's start with Prince Charles. Prince Charles, this is not a pro-Meghan video at all. This is a case for purging the entire royal family and leaving the members who are actually fit to be part of the royal family. Because you see, this is my opinion. When one person behaves, and it gets away with it, but then it escalates. So now it started very early on, but it has escalated to the point of absolute debauchery. Like, they really don't care anymore. They really feel entitled and arrogant and untouchable. All of them. They all feel that they can do whatever and nobody has a right to tell them. Before, at least, they tried to live by the rules. And not anymore. So it's time to bring him down, to remind them that they are held to laws and rules. Anyways, so we go with Prince Charles. Prince Charles was best buddies with Jimmy Savile. I don't know, I know you guys probably from America or other parts of the world. He turned out to be one of the worst pedophiles, murderers in England. He actually, he knew that he was aware that he was a pedophile. He was told about it, yet he didn't care. He had Jimmy Savile come for many years, in his early years of marriage to the beautiful Princess Diana, come and be a counselor, marriage counselor, in spite of that Princess Diana told him that she didn't like that creep. And it turns out that she was right. Jimmy Savile is one of the worst pedophile murderers who used the children in all those charities and preyed on them. And yet Prince Charles supported him and sent them letters all the time. Peter Ball, a bishop. Prince Charles, even though he was aware and knew that he was a pedophile, what he did, he wrote letters to this bishop, supporting him and basically denouncing the victims, telling that the victims were terrible for saying those things about him. He even went and bought him a house so he could live free, to have a place to live, and supported him until the guy died. The letters of support that Prince Charles wrote to this Peter Ball, and many people have rightly wondered why it took the police so long to investigate him, and it's because of Prince Charles. Now, what did the MPs and the police do? They removed the letters that Prince Charles used to send to Peter Ball to protect Prince Charles. God knows what he was saying, other things that he was saying on those letters. So this is wrong, because laws should be there not to cover up for the royal family members, but to expose them and enforce them. So we have those two examples that we can draw on, like about Prince Charles' moral, standing with guys with pedophiles. And to this day, he still supports them. He really believes that they were made wrong, and then he has never apologized in public for his friendship with these two people. And not only known for strong friendship. Another moral thing for Prince Charles, the way he treated Princess Diana, let's not beat around the bush. They're trying to sugarcoat it. Oh, he stopped seeing Camilla. No, he didn't. You don't have your mistress in the church while you're getting married. You don't take your mistress's picture to your honeymoon when you're married. Now, the only issue I have with Prince Charles is, I have many issues with him, but informed consent. Had he been honest with Princess Diana and said, listen, I am going to marry you, but I am in love with this other woman. But I think we can make it work. We can come to an arrangement. You can have this. But that's not what he did. He lied. He didn't inform her about what she was getting herself into. And that is wrong, because he took that choice away from her by not telling her what she was really stepping in. Had he done it, probably she would have married because she loved him, and naively she would have thought that I could change his mind and I could make him love me, But she would have been informed. You see what I mean? Okay, so we can't say that Prince Charles, nobody, and this is just one of them. And then we have Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew is a whole lot of goddamn mess too. So you see, Harry he can't point fingers and say, you can't take the titles away from me because of, moral behavior, because everything I've done in my life is very publicly out there. So what if my wife is a divorcee and she wasn't a famous actress, whatever? Okay, so what? All we do is lie. That's true, because it's true. Unless the funds Here we have the funds, the money funds, with the charities, almost £4 million, $4 million, sorry. Prince Andrew was caught last year that there were about 100 and some thousand pounds that he paid to a member of his staff, a salary, when these people were supposed to be volunteers. I think that's what it was. If I'm not right, please correct me at the bottom. And it was a scandal. Say, oh, he paid her that money, and he shouldn't have paid her because it was supposed to be a salary. So he immediately put it back. He immediately put it back and apologized. With Harry, we have over $4 million. He hasn't apologized. That's another thing that people actually, that he should be prosecuted for and investigated. People have said in other channels that the investigation came to a conclusion and they didn't find anything. That's not true. They should have said, we've investigated this and that, and they should publicly state what the findings are. So for me, I think they're covering up. And again, that's another one of the perks of being a member of the royal family. So yeah, we have Harry's money that he hasn't accounted for or justified. So going back, but again, he can't point fingers and say, wait a minute, this my uncle did that. But again, at least Andrew cleared that up. So yeah, the only, and they can't say that an American person doesn't have a title because there's nothing in the MP and the UK laws that say so, unless, and this is where my point is, they draft laws that said only British citizens can hold titles. So in the United States, there is that amendment, but it hasn't been signed yet. I hope that President Trump does sign that amendment to force her to either choose the title or choose the citizenship. So the only way I can see the Queen removing or stripping Harry of the titles is by basically complying with his wishes of just being called Harry. Just Harry. Now, the difference between Harry and the other royals, for example, with Sarah, Duchess of York, and the Duke of Windsor, is that the Duke of Windsor didn't want to lose his titles. He always remained loyal to the crown, and he actually did want to work for the crown. And so did Sarah, but Sarah's character was really so bad. The only reason why she still has a royal title is because Prince Andrew fought for her for some reason. He's still loyal to her. I guess they're both crooks. Crooks help each other out. But in theory, the Duchess of York should actually have lost that title. So Parliament will have no choice but to actually draft rules that protect the monarchy from members of the royal family. And yes, you have to write, because it's obvious that there has been abuse and will continue to be abuse. If now, unfortunately, if Harry and Meghan Markle are allowed to get away with everything, that sets another benchmark and another precedent, because the next people who actually abuse the royal titles are going to say, look, you allow Meghan Markle and Harry to get away with so much, so what? So they have to now, because Meghan Markle, instead of being quiet about it, they did it very publicly, very in your face. They could have registered the trademarks and stayed with the royal family, and continue doing their work. They were stupid. If they had stayed with the royal family, they probably would have been able to merge a lot of stuff. As long as they kept the public happy doing their duties, like supporting the Queen. They were really stupid about it. They should have stayed within the royal family if they wanted to merge stuff, because they would have been able to keep some of the proceeds, and quietly keep everything, probably set up a company in the UK with, her through friends, and allowed to use her image, whatever, they could have done it a lot smarter than that. But anyways, this is why Meghan feels untouchable, because there's too many precedents of bad behavior, corruption, theft, criminal acts that have gone unpunished. They can't say that because she's American, they're going to remove the title because we have Wallis Simpson. They can't say that because she's lied publicly, they're going to remove the titles. Wait a minute, you have Prince Charles being very, very good buddies with Jimmy Savile. They have all the lies they've said to Princess Diana. They have Prince Andrew with Sarah, Duchess of York, committing criminal acts, caught on camera. So what's left? basically strip them of their titles because they've done it very publicly. They didn't do it quietly. The Duchess of York got caught. She was being very quiet about it, but she did it so many times that she got caught. Now the Duchess of York is doing very publicly because she feels, hey, if Meghan is doing it, I can do it. So, do you know what I mean? So they've really backed themselves into a corner. But again, it shouldn't matter if they lose the titles because they have clearly stated that they want to be linked, not ranked. That Harry wants to be just Harry. So when people say it's going to be very traumatic for Harry and Meghan to lose the titles, why? It should be a moment of joy for them that those titles are stripped from them or that they are forced to renounce those titles. So yeah, why not? And again, when people say they can't do that because they can't break the rules, let me remind you of something. The Duke of Windsor, when he abdicated as king, should have been with no titles at all. Zero allowance, and yet he got an allowance. Why was that? Because in spite of all the rules in place, he negotiated with the king to give up his interest in his father had left the king had left the Balmoral and Sandringham to Edward. So the King George, he negotiated with Edward, the Duke of Windsor, to give up. He paid him for the Sandringham and Balmoral, and part of that deal that they reached was that he was going to have a title, and he was to remain the HRH. But that was in spite of the rules, because once the king abdicated, he should have had no titles, no stipend at all, and yet the former king, had a stipend and had titles. So therefore, it doesn't make any sense when people say that because of the rules, Meghan Markle, the rules in place. And again, people can negotiate anything. Nothing is written in stone. There can always be exceptions be made. And this is why now they really need a clear set of rules and enforcement to avoid any of all this mess. Anyway, what do you think? Let me know. I'm sorry this was a long video. This will be my last long video. Have a good day.